There's one. Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney. Game 4 is in the books, and I am not here with a season wrap-up video. The Chicago Blackhawks beat the Vegas Golden Knights 3-1 in game number 4. Their season is still alive for at least another game, which is tonight at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. Let's answer game number 4's questions. Question number 1. What will it take for the Blackhawks to start on time? Well, they did it in this game. Drake Caggiula scored just over 4 minutes into the first period. And yes, that was the first goal of the game. For the first time this series, the Chicago Blackhawks did not give up the first goal of the game. So I guess maybe that's your answer right there. They have to come out in the first period and just score very quickly. Of course, they have to start the game on time in order to do that. So hopefully it's just something that they know how to replicate for game number 5. Question number 2. Will Patrick Kane take a frustrating game number 3 and turn that into playoff powerhouse Patrick Kane? Or will he look like he wants to go home? Well, I wouldn't say that Patrick Kane necessarily looked like he wanted to go home, but he also didn't factor in on the score sheet. And of course, you don't have to put up points in order to be effective in a game. I feel like he looked a lot more engaged in game number 4 than he had previously. So that is great news going forward for the Blackhawks if he can keep that up. We definitely haven't seen playoff powerhouse Patrick Kane yet, so maybe he will bring out his best game of the series so far in game number 5 tonight. We can only hope. Question number 3. On the brink of elimination, will the Blackhawks show some urgency or will they lay down and die? The Blackhawks did win this game 3-1, so I would say they showed a bit more urgency than they had. I wouldn't say that they deserved this win necessarily over some of the previous games they have played. Up until this game, I believe every game has been a 1-goal game so far. Never mind, I forgot they got killed in game number 1, 4-1. We just forget about that one. But games 2 and 3 were both 1-goal games, and I would say that the Hawks had a better chance of winning those 2 games than they had game 4. But we saw playoff superhero Corey Crawford in this one, and we'll get to that in a second. So the Blackhawks definitely did not lay down and die, but I do want to see some more urgency from them in game number 5. Hopefully they can come out again and score the first goal of the game. That seemed to work out pretty well for them. And to the surprise of no one, at least it didn't surprise me, Drake Caggiula scored the first goal of the game. I did say that he would be the key to the Blackhawks' success in the qualifying round, so... And then Matthew Highmore got a very weird goal, throwing it on net from basically the goal line. He was up against the boards, and it went high on Robin Lehner. Lehner was trying to make a header save, but instead he headed the puck directly into the net. I didn't know what had happened at first. I don't think anybody really knew what had happened at first, except for the players on the ice. And then they just started celebrating, and I was like, cool, we scored! And then they showed the replay, and I was even more confused. And then we got a better angle that showed that Lehner headed it into the net, and I went, sometimes you just need puck luck. I will take it. So that is how they answered the questions for game number 4. Have you taken a moment to breathe after that game yet? If not, here we go. There's your breath. Now let's talk about it a little bit. Like I said, the Blackhawks scored the first goal of the game by Drake Caggiula. Matthew Highmore's followed soon thereafter. And then, of course, Vegas had to come back with a push, and Shea Theodore got a goal around 14 minutes into the first period. And the score stayed 2-1 until the last 10 or so seconds of the game. Alex DeBrincat finally got his goal. It was an empty netter. I'll take it. Doesn't even matter. It was very important. And while he was going in on the break for the empty netter, Max Pacioretty just decided he needed to slash DeBrincat. You know, if it were going to be called a penalty, it would have been an automatic goal anyway. So I'm not really sure why he did that, other than frustration, I guess. But he ended up getting fined $2,500, so sucks to suck. But the majority of the game, the score was 2-1, with the Blackhawks in the lead and holding on for dear life, the story of the game was Corey freaking Crawford. I mean, not that that surprises me or anything. He made 48 saves on 49 Vegas shots. That's just ridiculous in a regulation game. The Vegas Golden Knights were nearing 100 shot attempts on net. The Hawks had to block 32 shots. Let's say the Blackhawks don't block any shots at all. They just don't show up for their goalie and move out of the way of the puck. The Vegas Golden Knights would have had 81 shots on net. Maddening. Somehow, the Hawks only took 3 penalties. They came out with 100% on the penalty kill, so thank goodness. Crawford was obviously the best penalty killer on the ice for the Hawks. To me, it definitely seemed like they took a lot more penalties. I don't know if it was just the stress of the game and everything was heightened, but I felt like they couldn't stay out of the box, but clearly that wasn't the case since they only took 3 penalties. But after they got that second goal, it sure seemed like they were on the penalty kill for the entire game. Vegas was 1000% the better team in game number 4, but they didn't come away with the win, and that's just hockey sometimes. Sometimes things go your way when they really shouldn't, like they did for the Hawks, and sometimes you just get zero puck luck. Sometimes you gotta be a little lucky to be good, and that was the Hawks in this game. But what wasn't luck was the performance that Corey Crawford, number 50 in net, put on Sunday night. I don't know what his warm-up routine was going into game number 4, but I'm gonna need him to do that again tonight. Hopefully he doesn't have to face as many shots, but I digress. He was amazing. He was tracking the pucks through traffic. Shea Theodore's goal was a shot through traffic. It was high. It was not too long after Matthew Highmore had scored. It was kind of wonky. You probably want your goaltender to have that one, but he is getting zero blame on that shot because he absolutely stole the show for the entire rest of the game. And of course, Robin Lehner played really well on the other end. He only faced 25 shots, well, 24, since one was the empty netter, and only gave up 2 goals himself. I mean, Matthew Highmore's was a fluky goal. So he played really well, but Corey Crawford, story of the game. He was flying all over the place. He did not want his team going home after this game. And that's great to see. Sometimes you just need your goaltender to steal a game, and this was one that clearly the Blackhawks really needed. If it weren't for the performance that he put up, the score would have been absolutely ugly. Vegas was flying all over the ice. They were clearly taking a ton of shots. They wanted to end this series Sunday night. But that's not what happened. The Blackhawks finally have a playoff win after a lot of years of playoff failure. Okay, I say that. Their last cup was 5 years ago. Stick with me here. That was one of the most stressful games I have watched in a very long time, and it reminded me why I was so ready for the Hawks to just not make the playoffs this year. I wanted to be stress-free, just enjoy the hockey, watch other teams fight for it. But then the NHL had their return-to-play plan, which increased the size of the tournament to 24 teams, had the qualifying round, and the Blackhawks managed to make it in as the 12th seed in the West. So then I was hooked. Once there was a chance that the Blackhawks could be competing in the playoffs again, I had no choice but to root for them. And of course I rooted for them throughout the season. I want to see my players do well and I want to see my team do well, but there comes a point when you realize just what you have on the ice, and if you don't think it's good enough, you think, well, let's get a better draft pick, try again next year, maybe we'll have some important additions in the off-season, and things will look better. But this is 2020, nothing makes sense. The Blackhawks are in the playoffs, they're playing not terribly, not specifically great, but not terribly. They are managing to keep up with one of the best teams in the league, maybe not in the series score right now since it is 3-1, but 2 games have only been by 1 goal, and one of them the Hawks pushed to overtime. And then the most recent game, we had no business winning, and the hockey gods, Crawford, something was on our side. So then it just gives you even more hope in that little irrational brain in here. They won 1 game. Why can't they win another one? Much like I said in the video going into game 4, the previous games don't matter anymore. They're over. Games 1 through 3 that we lost, they don't matter. Game number 4, that was a miraculous goaltender win, doesn't matter. Games number 6 and 7, they don't even exist yet. Don't even worry about them. The only thing that matters is game number 5, coming out with a good start and winning the game period by period. So here's my questions. Question 1. Dear Powerplay, can we have a shoot first mentality? Much like the Vegas Golden Knights that only had 3 power plays in game number 4, the Blackhawks also only had 3 power plays in game number 4, but a couple of those came after Crawford had made some absolutely ridiculous saves in his end, obviously, and not just some ridiculous saves, but some ridiculous sequences of saves. So me, as a fan, sitting in my living room, I'm over here like, okay, the Blackhawks get a power play. Maybe the skaters up front will see how their goaltender's performing for them, and they will come out and want to help him out a little bit, get an insurance goal or 2, just start shooting the puck. They see how Vegas is putting up all of these shot attempts on Crawford. Why can't we do the same thing? If only it were that simple. I don't know what is wrong with this team, but it is like they are allergic to shooting the puck on the power play. It is very frustrating. We've talked about it time and time again. This is not the first time it's been brought up just in this calendar month of August since we started playing again. That first game they had against Edmonton, 2 power play goals. Guess what? You have to shoot the puck to do that. Guess what? When the Blackhawks shoot the puck towards the net, weird things happen. We won the Edmonton series with a bunch of tipped-in goals. Matthew Highmore scored a goal in this very game, number 4, by just whipping the puck at the net and it going off of Leonard's head into the back of the net. So if you have the extra man on the ice, you have the advantage. That is what the power play is for. You should be able to shoot the puck and retrieve it easier than playing 5-on-5. Of course, the defenders can ice the puck without icing being called, so you have to get to the puck first and maybe win a board battle or 2, but you have to do that in 5-on-5 play anyway. They seem to be okay with moving around the zone and shooting the puck when they're at even strength. Why can't they do that when they have the man advantage? I mean, the obvious explanation would be they want to look for a great open backdoor pass to get the open net, like what Kane hit the post on in game number 3. It's still painful. It will always be painful. We were that close to having a tie game. I mean, in theory, we did lose by 1 goal, so if Kane would have scored that one, it would have been tied. You understand. So in game number 5, your season is on the line. Once again, your backs are against the wall. You cannot rely on your goaltender to make 48 saves every single game with no run support. Will you shoot the puck on the power play? I might start pulling my hair out if we don't. Question 2. Have the Blackhawks bought into having Jeremy Colliton as their coach? Now, this one's a little hard to quantify. Well, it basically cannot be quantified. But I haven't heard as many narratives about the Blackhawks not listening to Coach Colliton. And of course, they won 1 technical playoff series, the play-in round. And while they did go down 3-0 against Vegas, they did find a way to come back and win game number 4, and it was an outright battle. The defense didn't look great, but they definitely weren't passive like we've seen in some previous outings. We know that they couldn't clear the puck for anything, but they were pressuring their men in the defensive zone. And clearly with 32 shot blocks, they were jumping in front of the puck. Now, I know Jeremy Colliton definitely likes to have a man-on-man defensive scheme, and he's changed that up a little bit to be kind of hybrid, but that was something that the veteran players struggled with as soon as he was promoted when Joel Quenneville was fired. Now they've had more time to work on it, they've had more communication from their coaching staff, they know what's expected of them, and now they know what Jeremy Colliton is like as a playoff coach. This is something I won't necessarily be able to answer after game number 5, but it is a question that I have since we've heard so much about it since he was hired. So have the Blackhawks finally bought into having Jeremy Colliton as their coach? I guess the only really thing that will tell is what happens in the offseason. Hopefully that's still a long ways away. Question 3. Can the Blackhawks be the hardest working team on the ice? We know that in this series, the Chicago Blackhawks are not the better team. Vegas has an awesome roster out there, and they work really well together. They have their systems down. They know what the goal is. They get out there, they move their feet, their defensemen step in to make offensive plays. They're not afraid to take the body. They pretty much play an all-around game, and we knew this going into the series. I had said on this channel that yes, Edmonton was definitely a tough team, but that was because they're top heavy. Vegas doesn't have that top tier talent, but they have depth throughout the lineup. Even in net, they have Robin Lehner and Marc-Andre Fleury. Like, come on. But sometimes skill is not what wins hockey games. Or, fortunately for the Blackhawks, playoff series. We've seen the perfect example of this as recent as last season when the Columbus Blue Jackets fought their way into a playoff spot and swept the President's Trophy winning team, Tampa Bay Lightning. They were far and away the best team in the league last year. It was absolutely ridiculous. But because of that, they had let up the gas heading into the playoffs while Columbus had been playing important games for the past month or so just trying to get a playoff spot. Now, the situation is obviously a bit different because both teams had that break heading into the playoffs. But the point still stands that it isn't always the most skilled team that wins. Sometimes it comes down to being the hardest working team on the ice, the team that is willing to give it all out there in each and every single game, throw your body in front of pucks, help out your goaltender, just fling everything at the net, take the body, move your feet no matter what. If the Blackhawks can come out and be the hardest working team in game number 5, they have a chance to win. But that's asking a lot. Vegas is a great team. So we will see what happens tonight. Puck drop is at 9:30 Central Time, game number 5. Let's go Blackhawks. Thank you all for watching. Please hit that subscribe button to catch more From Center Ice content. If you could, hit the like button on this video, maybe share it with a friend or two. And while you're here, check out the podcast playlist and catch up on some old episodes. We will catch y'all next time. Bye!